Ready?
Hey YouTube, as you can see, this is not a KLR 650 or a DRZ 400. This is a KTM 250 SX. Yes, I've been drinking the Kool-Aid. And if you've been following my videos, you know that I started off on a KLR after years and years of street riding. And after riding the KLR up here for a while, I decided I wanted something a little bit lighter, so I got the DRZ. And of course, after riding the DRZ, I decided I wanted something even lighter yet. And that's where the idea for the two-stroke came from. And, oh, this is interesting. Here, if you look, we pulled over here, and that's the sheriff. The sheriff just got that big old truck. And so he waves us forward to kind of let us go ahead. And so I started accelerating through the gears here. And I'm having so much fun on my two-stroke, I forget the sheriff's back there. And so then, once I remember, I slow down a little bit. And, turn off the road as soon as we get a chance up here, just in case he's unhappy with my acceleration there. So I wanted a lighter bike, and of course two-strokes are a whole lot lighter, and I started riding motorcycles in the late 70s, early 80s, and back then everybody had a two-stroke, and so, I rode friends' two-strokes. My first bike was a two-stroke, and I kind of liked the idea of going back to a two-stroke, and of course they've become kind of popular recently. So I pulled over here to give Mike a chance to ride the bike before I destroyed it on this maiden ride here.
Is it smoking a lot, or?
No, not at all.
Really?
That back tire's good. It's kicked up a lot of rock.
I was wondering if I was roosting you.
My goggles screwed up, so I pulled them down. I'm like, please don't hit me in the face. I had one deflect off my visor.
I was trying not to gas it too much, but you just barely get on the gas and I could feel my back end sliding around.
Right.
So this KTM is a 2006. And I got it on Craigslist, and I got it for quite a bit under what I thought I should have gotten it through. And you can see the clutch is really sticky, and that's why Mike's kind of having a tough time there. And I'd worked on quite a bit of fixing it up before I came out here, but it hadn't worked on the clutch, and didn't realize it was quite as sticky as it was. But so anyway, got a good deal on it on Craigslist, and as I said, it was a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. So I really expected there to be some problems with this bike, and I kind of figured that we'd come out here and find them on this first ride. But luckily we did find a couple things that I'll mention later in the video, but the bike actually ran a whole lot better than I thought it would. And you can see here I'm having to work a little bit to keep up with him. I asked him if if I was a little faster coming down here, and he said it seemed about the same, but I definitely think it's a little bit faster on the KTM.
Let's go over here.
So I suppose I should mention the bike I'm on right here is a Honda XR650L, which is Mike's bike, and it's the perfect bike for force roads and kind of light single track. It's really fun up here, but it's a little heavy for regular single track. So here I've decided Mike's had enough fun with my bike, and it's time for me to ride my own bike a little bit, and him to get back on his we call it the big red pig.
No freeway cruiser, is it?
No.
So as we're trying to leave here, Mike's bike won't start. It's turning over, but it's not firing. And we really expected to have problems with my bike, but definitely not with his bike. And every once in a while, his bike will do this, where it just turns over and won't start. And we sat here for a while. I edited some of it out before we finally decided to push it down the hill here.
Yeah. Well, we got it downhill.
And of course, it's a little steeper than it looks in the video here, so pretty easy to bump start it. You can there you can hear his is going, and mine gets going in a sec here. And so once we got the bikes going, we turned around and headed back up the trail to where we were heading up here.
You want to go that way? I haven't been that way before.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
And I kind of thought that this was a new road from looking at the grading, but once we got down a little bit, you could tell it was an old road that had just been regraded. But I got to tell you, this 250 SX is a lot of fun to ride fast. It's just a lot easier to ride fast than the DRZ or, of course, the KLR. It just handles better, and I suppose that's what it was meant for. So.
Well, I've got it stopped. I'm going to check the fuel.
And the fuel that's in there is what's left over from the previous owner. I haven't added any fuel to what was there, although I do have some back in the truck. And so I can see that a little bit low there, but enough to keep riding for a bit. And as I was saying, this SX is a lot of fun to ride fast. I noticed right here though is this is pretty much top speed for this bike with the gearing and only having a 5-speed. I keep trying to shift into 6, but that's actually about it.
I keep turning too soon, don't I?
For what?
To get back out on that other road?
Well, to get back where we started, it's straight ahead.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm lost. Go ahead, I'll follow you.
Okay.
Of course, you don't want to go too fast on these roads because there's always the possibility of traffic coming in the other direction.
Let's go back and get some gas.
Yeah, okay.
Of a 6 gear really shows itself when you're on these paved roads here. So we got back to the staging area here, and I don't think I've ever seen so many people at the staging area. This up here at Nazteca, there's really usually not a lot of people up here, and so it's kind of rare to see that many people. It's good to see that many, but kind of rare. So we fueled up and headed back out. And if you've watched many of my other videos, you know that I also have an airplane. And so instead of just buying pump gas, I just siphoned a little fuel out of the airplane and used that to mix it with my premix. So I'm actually running aviation fuel here.
I think it's running a little bit better with the aviation fuel.
Oh, you can feel the difference?
Oops. Till it died. Well, I thought we'd just explore down here. I don't remember what's even down here. So
I haven't been down here. So.
Okay. Well, I'll follow you. Try to go. See if you can find an uphill.
Okay.
So I'm gonna bump start it here. Okay. So.
So I don't know what the deal was, but the bike continued to die on the aviation fuel, even though it was running fine on the fuel that the prior owner had in there. You can see those gates. We ran into those a lot up here. And I didn't increase the idle, but on later rides it ran perfect without any issues. So it's running a little bit rich, which I still need to fix, but I'll get to that eventually. So after riding up the road a little bit, we parked, didn't get it on video, but I noticed there was a little bit of oil leaking out of the transmission case. And what it ended up being is the inner clutch cover gasket had gone bad, which is pretty common for these bikes. And in fact, a week after this, I had that fixed. And if you notice there, you'll see some tools flying out of the back of Mike's bike, and there you can see him right there. And this is exactly the same spot that I lost a Bible, tools, and water bottle and an air pump in one of my first videos on the KLR. So it's kind of a funny coincidence that he lost his tools there as well. So due to the oil leak in my bike, we decided to head back home. And this is not too far from the staging area. It's kind of a fun little ATV trail back here that leads you back, and we're just having a lot of fun here. And Mike, I don't think he knows the way, which is why he pulled over there and kind of let me go ahead of him. I am just having so much fun on this two-stroke, though. You know, we'll see when I get into some steep technical stuff whether I still like it, losing the back end. But I'm having fun riding down these trails. So you can see these people were camped here, and they're not. I mean, they're actually camped just on the side of a very skinny. But you can see here the road. It's not a very wide road. I don't know how they got their trailers all the way down there, but I give those guys credit. But you can see this bike is a lot of fun to go fast on these gravel roads. And of course, you always have to keep in mind there could be people coming in the opposite direction like those guys. So although it's fun to go fast, you got to kind of keep the speed down a little bit on these roads back here. So here I am coming back out into the staging area after a fun day of riding, and I got to say I love the two-stroke. Very happy with the KTM. It's an SX. I would rather have a woods bike since that's the type of riding I do, but this is the one I got, and the price was right. And anyway, had a lot of fun. So there's Mike showing my riding style. So we had fun. Anyway, thanks for watching.